All right, good morning, class, and welcome to week number 5. That is right, week number 5 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and today what we are going to do is we are going to do a quick state of the course update because there's really not a lot to update on there. And then after we do the state of the course update, we are going to go ahead and transition into me just giving you a very basic introduction to Learning Express Library, one of the very unique library resources that you find at a lot of libraries, both private and public, both academic and public. Also, you find Learning Express Library a lot at school libraries too. And I'm going to tell you about this database, some of the things that it does, and why you should know about it, why it could be important to you, because there is an element of they didn't teach us that in library school related to Learning Express Library. You are going to hear they didn't teach us that in library school a lot throughout your librarian career. And I have some thoughts on that. To keep it brief, even though I may elaborate more in the future, but to keep it brief for tonight, one thing that I'm going to say is part of the reason why you always hear that is because library science programs they tend to have very limited amounts of time that they can spend with their students. Okay, so there's a lot. Librarianship encompasses a whole lot of stuff, and yet we only get 13 classes with you, basically 39 hours. That translates really to 13 courses. So there's a lot that we want to teach you, but we just don't have the time. And so there are a lot of things that you kind of have to learn on the job. But I try to use these check-in videos to sort of remedy that at least a little bit. So having said that, let's go ahead and get into that state of the course update, and then we will go ahead and look at Learning Express Library, which is probably available both through your public library, your local public library, and it is also available through Mizzou. So it's one of the few resources that you are going to find pretty much no matter where you go, and that you can make use of no matter what type of librarianship you go into. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's move me here. The main thing that I want you all to know is that you do have assignments coming up due this weekend, your virtual reference assignments, which I'm in the wrong place to find those. Okay, so your virtual reference practice assignments are due on February the 20th, so that's this coming weekend, and they're worth 13 points of your grade. I am going to show you again real quickly that there is a rubric attached to this assignment, so please use the rubric as a guide. I want you all to do as well on this assignment as possible, so please use your rubric as a guide. And then also, yes, all essay style assignments should be in APA. You should be citing sources for this assignment, and it should have APA style use, proper APA style use, and I will be checking for that and taking off if APA style is not adhered to properly. The second state of the course update that I want to go by is again I apologize. The semester long project, which is now going to pretty much be a half semester long project, but the half semester long project, you'll still have plenty of time to get it done. Don't worry. I've had students start on this 2 weeks before it was due and finish it. But it will be uploaded this week. I can assure you of that. I'm targeting Friday or Saturday. I know this is no excuse, and I apologize, but basically what's been happening is I've been writing a lot of letters of recommendation. A lot of my former students are graduating or coming onto the market or what have you. I think I've written 7 letters that were time sensitive in the past week. And so, yes, that does take time because you do have to remind yourself of the things that the student has done, look over their resume, all of these various things, and then put a good letter together and send it off. So I hate that it sounds like I'm making excuses. That's probably what you all believe is happening here, but I had to prioritize that because these were people who were trying to get job applications in before the deadline, and I would much rather help them. I would prioritize, I should say, getting them jobs as opposed to prioritizing an assignment that you'll still have plenty of time to do. But just trust me when I say you're still going to have plenty of time to do this assignment. I'm almost done. I've got 3 questions that I need to alter. I do have full days tomorrow and Thursday, but I should be able to get that done Friday or Saturday at the latest. Okay, so again, my apologies for that. And the final thing that I'm going to say with the state of the course update is just that things are still looking good as far as your discussion board participation and everything. You only have a few more discussion board posts left here in February, and then come March, you're not going to have any due. You'll have one due in April and one due in May, but March is when you'll really have more time to work on that semester-long project because you won't have the discussion board posts anymore, okay? And then again, you'll only have one in April and you'll have one in May. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at Learning Express Library. Hopefully I can get through this in 20 minutes, which will make this video about 25 minutes long. Let me pause the video. Okay, so first things first, let me show you all how to get there because it is important to know how to get there, especially if you are going to be accessing through Mizzou. But again, this is something that is very common in public libraries. So if you go to library.missouri.edu, you can go to databases alphabetically. So looking for databases here, and then you can go to L because the name of the resource again is Learning Express Library. So we can click Learning Express Library and log in. All right, and it's going to load, and then it's going to bring you to a home page, and I'm going to tell you why this database is useful and important and some of the things that you can do with it. And then I encourage you, because this isn't an actual training, it's more of an introduction, but I encourage you, if you want to learn more about this database, which you probably should, then to go ahead and on your own time, go ahead and just kind of play around with it and learn what it can do for you and all that good stuff. So, all right. Let me move myself up here. The reason why, and this is, again, one of these, they didn't teach us that in library school type moments. The reason why Learning Express Library is so important is because Learning Express Library substitutes for test booklets. And here's the thing, especially in public libraries, but also to a lesser degree in some academic and school libraries, a lot of these test prep books just don't make it back to the library. They end up being lost or kept by the patron who checked them out, and they never come back, and then you don't have those resources to loan out to other people. And when I talk about test prep books, I'm talking GRE, I'm talking SAT, I'm talking ACT, I'm talking GRE, various career test prep books, including test prep for like nursing and things like that. Teaching, all of those things. So the reason why Learning Express Library is important is because this is a resource that can substitute for the need for those test prep books, because it offers pretty much the exact same types of service that those test prep books offer. And so if you're not getting those test prep books back, you can at the very least say, well, hey, I got this resource for you, and here's what you do. So, yes, so when you get to the landing page for Learning Express Library, what you're going to see, and again, this is available through a lot of public and school, and I believe school libraries as well. You will see a regular search box, which is generally what I use, and then you will also see these various categories that you can go in. Now, one thing you'll probably want to do is, if you really want to practice using this, you probably want to register for a free account. And yes, if you're a member of a library that has this resource, registering for an account is free. And then also, you probably want to guide your patrons toward registering for an account as well. So what we'll do, first of all, I'll tell you what this is used the most for. What it is used the most for, again, is the college admissions test preparation. So if I were to click this, what I would get is a menu here. So prepare for your ACT, your SAT, your PSAT, AP exams, TOEFL, college admissions writing, essay writing, stuff like that for the SAT. And I am going to use the SAT example right now and show you exactly what is offered through there. So if you decide to use the prepare for your SAT test, what you can do is, especially if you're registered, then you can access all these things, but you have various resources, tutorials on how you can study and prep for your math tests, your essay tests, your reading test. There are practice tests, and so those are very useful, especially your math practice tests can be very, very useful for learning strategies in order to kind of beat the test or do your best at the test and things of that nature. So, um, you would have access to these practice tests, and you can take them and you can track your progress with those. You can do the tutorials, and you can even use you can read the ebook once you have registered. And I'm not actually going to show those things now in order to keep this video brief. I'm just going to tell you that these things exist, and you will find similar things with these other test prep things. So if you do the the ACT, you'll see the same thing: practice tests, tutorials, ebooks. AP exams, you'll see similar things offered there as far as preparation resources for the different AP exams, calculus, chemistry, comp sci, English, all of these various things, government, a lot of different things. So this is very useful for when your library is not able to replace right away those ACT or SAT books that go missing. Okay, so that is what I've seen this resource used for the most. However, it does have some other uses. Let's go ahead and check out some of those uses now. So I am going to go to the home page. You can go to centers, but I'm going to go to home page and just show you some of the various other things that are offered here. So this does do a lot of good stuff in the way of also offering support with various subjects for K-12. So actually maybe more so 4 through 12 as opposed to K-12. But what you can do, like let's say, and similar things are available for college students and 4 through 8th grade educators, but I am going to go ahead and use the high school students thing right now, again, just for the sake of brevity. And what you can do, you can click one of these and you'll see, if you click the high school student skill building resources thing, you can look at math, English, social studies, sciences, and all these various things, logic and reasoning. You can click the subject that you want to improve your skills for, and then you see all of these breakdowns in the subject matter. So within math, you would, of course, have algebra, calculus, trig, geometry, and all these things. And what you can do is, again, once you register for an account, there are ebooks you can read, there are tutorials that you can perform, or tutorials that you can use to kind of learn things, and then there are little practice tests and everything that you can use. And so you can click this, and you would have to, again, have an account to begin, but you can take these practice tests and just sharpen your skills that way. And so I am going to go back to high school students. And so as you can see, you went into mathematics, but you would see similar things with these other subject areas. So if you did science, you would have your biology, chemistry, and earth science. No physics there, unfortunately. Is social studies, the Constitution, civics, geography, and so forth and so on. You'll have things for English, language arts, and that sort of thing. So you would have very similar things. I think it's just English and science in 4 through 8. Let me just look. Middle school. Okay, no, I was wrong. So they do have social studies. But yeah, you'll see the mathematics and English improvement there. Those are used more frequently, I believe, than the social studies things. And then you have a similar thing going on with college. Some other things that this is useful for and that you probably want to remember. For those who are taking the GRE, they can use the high school equivalent. I mean, not the GRE, I'm sorry, the GED. For those who are taking the GED, they can use the High School Equivalency Center to sharpen their skills for preparation for the GED test. And so you will, especially in the public library, have a lot of people who are coming in trying to, sharpen their skills for the GED. And this is one of the resources that you can point them to. And I've had people, when I was a public librarian, which I was only a public librarian for a year and a half, but I had people that were very appreciative to have that GED resource there, and they would use it in the library, get help from me, and all those sorts of things, okay? Adult core skills, this one is one that you can use as, this is one that you can use for, there is that citizen test. So that's something you also want to keep in mind, that you have some resources for taking citizenship tests, and then also just building your basic math skills as an adult, becoming a better reader, all of these various things. So I really do wish that they would add also like a speed reading module there, because I read very slow, but anyhow, they have not done that yet. keeping my fingers crossed for the future. So going back home, career prep is big. Again, a lot of these books don't return as well. So like the nursing exam, that was the one in my personal experience that I used the most. But you also have different test preps for cosmetology and teaching, and so the teaching I think would be the praxis, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and that sort of thing. You have state specific things, including we got Missouri here. So that's very useful. Again, you have these nursing entrance exams, and those can be very helpful. Again, law enforcement, cosmetology, and all these various things here. So for those who are coming into the library trying to get testing prep, and careers prep, again, the library is very useful for that. Now, let's go to there are two other things I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to end this. So we'll definitely keep this under 25 minutes, which was my goal here. So resumes and cover letters. Now, I do hope you all know that you can go to career services here at Mizzou, and you can do it remotely as well, I believe, and get some support with trying to, make sure that your resume and your vita is intact, and make sure that your cover letters look good and that sort of thing. Because I'll be honest, I'm on the admissions committee for CISL, and we do have some resumes that need a little work. But my resume needed a little work as well. Dr. Denise Atkins, actually helped me with my vita, because my vita was more geared toward being a practitioner versus being a professor, and so she fixed my vita for me. So even the professor needs help. Don't feel bad if you need help. But yes, there are quite a few people that when I reviewed their resumes for entrance into CISL, and I've been on that committee for 2 or 3 years now, the resumes were bad. So this is a resource for possibly improving your resume. And so I would, some of you could potentially even make use of this. And so I recommend that you be aware of that, and possibly even use the resume builder in order to get some help there. Cover letters, same deal. Finally, what we will end with here is when it comes to the Computer Skills Center. This is actually pretty cool. So these are actually like tutorials for learning different things about using computers and using specific, very popular software tools. Getting started with the computer, this can be very good for if you have people who just haven't used computers a lot in the past. They can use the getting started with your computer sort of thing, and getting started with the internet. They can use that to sort of build their elementary skills and foundational skills. But all of you who are using Canvas, y'all are already advanced beyond this point anyway. But the popular software tools, this might be something that's interesting to some of y'all, because you can learn how to use, especially with the Office suite, and thankfully they've now added the 2019 things. So you can get help. You can take tutorials, and these are very helpful tutorials. I did one a long time ago. Like I did one, I think in it was when I turned 30, so that would have been 2013. I did one for PowerPoint. I think I did this one, and it came in handy. And I never got through the one for Excel, but you all know that Excel has a lot of nuances. So taking a tutorial to learn how to use Excel better, that can be very helpful for some people. You have, again, these more up-to-date things related to PowerPoint and Word and Excel, but you have some more classic things, also Outlook. You have some more classic things related to Visio and related to Microsoft Access and those sorts of things. They used to have a few Adobe products up here, but they have taken those down, so I don't know what that's about, but you no longer have access to those. So that gives you a rundown of what this resource does, and it's interactive. It is interactive, and so it gives people good hands-on experiences with these tools. So again, I would recommend that you keep this in your toolbox. You may want to go ahead and play with it a little bit, just so you learn a little bit more about what it does, and so that you can commit it to memory. And that way, when a patron comes in and says, hey, I need help with the SAT, but I don't see the SAT prep books, and you can say, well, that's because people don't bring back our SAT prep books, but let me tell you what we do have. And then also they do have, let me show you this real quick. So we are going to go over 20 minutes, but again, we're not going to hit 25. So you can also do a search here. So if you do like a search for GRE, then the various things that are relevant to the GRE, they can come up, tutorials ebooks and that sort of thing. What you may want to do even is try to uncheck some of these so that you can focus on the particular resource that would be most helpful. So let's say you wanted somebody to have access to a GRE test prep book. You could just type in GRE in the search, and then you could uncheck all those other boxes, and then here is a GRE general test prep book. And so that's how that works as well. And that can even come in handy because a lot of my friends, actually, I've directed some of my friends to this when I was on Facebook. I'm not on there anymore. But when I was on Facebook, yeah, I was directing some of my friends to this too. Because I would have friends who were going back to graduate school or something, and they'd be like, well, what can I do? Does anyone have I had several friends like, does anyone have a GRE book that they're not using anymore? And I'm just like, well, your librarian can help you with a little something there. And then I break it down. I tell them about this resource. I look up whether or not their local public library has it. And if it does, I tell them, hey, go join the public library. You can access this for free. All right, so that's how that works. Anyway, that is the rundown. If you have any questions, I am available. AustinJ@Missouri.edu. AustinJ@Missouri.edu. Any place, any time, any town. I will be back next week with what will probably actually be a very long check-in video next week. It'll probably be well over an hour long because I'll be introducing you to some newspaper resources. That is one of the longer check-in videos, so you may want to just be prepared to take breaks and things like that when that video comes down the pipe, if you decide that you're going to watch it. But these videos are optional. Having said that, I'm going to leave it right there so that we stay under 25 minutes. I am Dr. Jace, and do not let good things go to waste. All right, that is it for me. Peace out, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.